What is happening, people? Welcome back to my office and today's training video. So if you haven't seen a training video in a while, you'll notice that they are a little bit different because I tried to make them like super intimate and vulnerable, and I really want it to be very much like just both of us are sitting around on our couch talking about training instead of it being like kind of a big show and stuff like that. Also, you're gonna notice that my training looks a good bit different now for a couple reasons. Number one is because I'm still dealing with this stupid shoulder injury, and that means that my frequency is up a lot. So you're gonna see more sessions throughout today's training video. And then number two, this is absolutely my most, I guess, just physically exhausted that I am all year long. And the reason why is because right now is when I begin doing tree work and all my firewood processing, which is absolutely exhausting. So I process myself probably 30 to 40 cords of firewood, and I do it all by hand except for one splitter, which I rarely use because I don't really like doing it that way. So it's a lot of work, and it's a bunch of like strongman work. Like I do weighted carries, weighted loads, offset carries, farmer's carries, log to shoulder. I do all those things all day long and do a ton of physical labor. So when I go into the gym, it often pays the price, and you're gonna see it throughout this. Between me talking about how my shoulder, I'm working around that, as well as how the firewood affects my daily training. Hopefully it will be pretty interesting for you guys. But as you can see right here, I am literally just doing farmer's carry with picaroons. That log is about 30 inches in diameter, and a lot of times rather than just doing a weighted carry, it's easier to actually split it in half and then carry it like this. So that's why you guys see me doing things like this. This is on the daily. If I am not recording videos, doing something else, then this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pause it here for 1 second. Two reasons why. Number one, I want to give you guys the first tip, and the first tip is going to be about using bands on your rows. I've talked about this on Instagram, but I've never really mentioned it too much on YouTube, I don't believe. But I add bands. Right here, you're seeing me do a Meadows row with bands on the T-bar. But even if you're doing like a single arm dumbbell row, if you can step inside of a band that's wrapped around, it really changes the stimulus. Because if you're anything like me, when you do a dumbbell row or any sort of row, you try to get some sort of pause up at the top, right? But unless you're doing like a for real, like 2 second, like 1, 2, and then lower the weight under control, you're not really pausing. A lot of your pause is momentum. And I'm saying this because I realize this about myself. I yank the weight up and then it's kind of weightless, and that starts my pause, and I might try to hold it for an extra second and then bring it down, right? That's my pause. However, when you have something like a band attached to whatever row you're doing, it's literally like someone is pulling your hand back down. So even finishing the row at a normal momentum-y kind of weightless point, that doesn't happen. It's literally yanking you back down because it's getting harder and harder the more you pull it up. And so even just doing full range of motion on a row, it is awesome. I absolutely love them. I would highly recommend throwing some bands on there. And then the second reason why I'm pausing it right here is to explain why I am in work clothes doing a workout. And I talked about this in the last video, but a lot of my sessions are much shorter, much more frequent. So I don't give them as much of attention, and honestly it would take me as much time to change out of my work clothes and then back into my work clothes to work the session around as the session takes. So I literally just keep my work clothes on, hit the session, and then go right back to work and treat it like it was just any other chore. So that is why you're seeing me in the clothes here. All right, so now moving on with training. Here you see me doing some Meadows rows with the bands. Again, I absolutely love it. I'm trying to use bands on virtually all of my rows now, but this right here is actually the first time that I've been able to bench my body weight for reps since I actually injured the shoulder. And I injured my shoulder, man, it's gonna be coming up on a year this spring, so not spectacular on the healing there, but it took me a long time before I got to my friend Dr. Greg, who has been giving me some rehab exercises and kind of building some stuff that's gonna help out. Anyway, I do a lot of different workarounds. I mentioned in the last video, however, you'll see a lot of them in play. Like right here, I'm just doing tons and tons of reps. The end of my workout a lot of times ends with just lots and lots of just volume. And then here I am at Never Sate with the spider bar. Now, the spider bar intentionally does throw your hips up a little bit. However, my back is extremely tired here. I hit this weight a week prior to this without a belt, and it moved much better than this. However, like I said, doing all the firewood and doing 10,000 deadlift reps of anywhere between 40 pounds and 300 pounds has got my back completely fried. So you see that squat there, 550. Not spectacular, but it was what it was. I took a day's rest, came back for this deadlift slash overhead press day, and I was just hitting doubles. So That was 500. Here we move on to 550, and right here I'm really working hard on building back up my, I guess, tolerance to suck when it comes to deadlift, right? Deadlift, squat. The thing is, it doesn't feel that heavy in my hands. I feel like I can pick it up. The problem is that my body's not used to the strain, to the breathing and the bracing, to that pressure inside my body, inside my head, and just the pain that deadlifting something heavy actually is. So this was actually a big deal for me. It's the first time I deadlifted 585 in a little while. So I did get pretty hyped up for it. Big pressure here, and again, right there, my body's just like hurting. It doesn't feel heavy to me. I'm not used to the pressure, so I need to kind of build up my tolerance to that again so that it won't be that big of a deal. That's why you see me shaking my head, because it just made me kind of funny. Now this is currently where I am with my overhead press, and still can't press without the semi-supinated grip. It's like that, but 170 pounds back up there is not bad. I'll be back over 200 pounds. I'm guessing probably this week or next. This is a completely separate day at the gym. I was doing a bunch of recording, but a lot of my days end up just being like rehab exercises and stuff. Because as I mentioned in the last video, I'm hurt, right? But the reason why I'm hurt is because it's a chronic problem, because I have weaknesses in my body that need to get kind of built back up and addressed so that I can stop getting spasms and just pretty much tweaking my shoulder. So a lot of exercise time that I'm spending is doing dumb stuff that doesn't really seem like it would work. I talk a lot about this in my previous video, but it has been working very, very much. And little exercises like this that I have little pink dumbbells for are absolutely brutal and absolutely killer, because I have those weak spots in my chain that need to get fixed so that I won't continually hurt myself, and hopefully it will lead to bigger things down the road, because pressing heavy is something that I absolutely want to do again. Another thing that I'm doing to build my tolerance is pause front squats. Now the pause will continue to get longer as my tolerance gets higher, so I don't go sleepy time, and the weight will get heavier. But here's 365. The reason why I stopped at 365 on this day is because honestly it started slipping off my right shoulder. You'll see it a little bit there, and my right shoulder is the injured one, and that was enough pain that I was like, you know what, don't risk it. Just get your flexibility, your mobility up a little bit, and come at that on another day. So I finished off the day with every minute on the minute, sets of 5 on the Bulgarian split squat each side every minute. So it ended up 50 reps each side at the end of 10 minutes. And man, that was absolutely brutal. After that, I just did some pressing. Now I'm including this because a lot of days I can't press like this, right? Like with my elbows out, and I will do as much as I can until the pain gets bad enough that I'm like, okay, dummy, stop, and then I'll turn my elbows in and then finish the set to hopefully get a little bit more work in my upper body. But I'm slowly trying to rework in externally rotating my arms so that I can get back to doing some normal straight bar overhead pressing and some actual competitive lifts. All right, so this day, moving on here, the giant set for the day were axle rows, and then the Swiss bar, or American cambered bar from Elite FTS presses, and dragon flags. Now watch the bench. So scary. I'm scared Conan to death. So public service announcement, if you guys are going to be doing dragon flags on adjustable bench, just make sure that your hands are high enough on the bench that it doesn't flip up on you. But I was using, I guess this is around 220 pounds because it's an axle, it's not a barbell. And same with this, that bar only weighs 40 pounds. That's why the weights look a little different than they actually are with normal gym math. But I was able to go up to 240 there, which was heavier than that previous set where you saw the 225 earlier. And then I actually move up, I believe, to 250. Yeah, 250 pounds here for a set of 3. It's shaky, and it's not, again, it's not about the weight. It does not feel heavy to me. It just feels unstable, and like my shoulder's going to slip out of socket, and it's going to be incredibly painful. So it's more about fear than anything else. And then I finished off with 20, 15, 10 reps of grenade pull-ups, the bench press with 185 pounds, and then these kettlebell pullovers, which is something I absolutely love. Here is another day where I was 99.99% sure I was not going to go to the gym this day. However, at the end of the day, Elena was like, hey, do you want to come in with me and just do some stuff? And I was still in my work clothes. I was like, sure, I'll go in and kind of mess around with deadlift. But I'm going to do the pause deadlift because it's going to be inherently lighter. Remember that I said that. So here is 510 pounds, beltless, and watch my face after this. My back gives. I'm like, oh my gosh. That's the heaviest 510 pounds I've ever felt in my life. I hate my life. I don't want to be here. I want to leave. Anyway, in between I was doing some rope pull-ups, as well as some windshield wipers. And the windshield wipers in steel-toe boots are incredibly harder. I'm not sure how heavy my steel-toe boots actually are, but it was like having weight on the end of my feet, and that did not make it easy. This was 506 pounds. This is top set of the day. I never soft lockout. Now watch this. My back gives, soft lockout. Literally, that's literally probably one of the first soft lockouts you guys have ever seen in my channel in your entire life. So yeah, that's pretty much what training has been for me right now. Like I said, it's just little sessions. I haven't always had my camera with me, so that's why there's not as much footage. But if this is something that you guys like, and you guys do want to see kind of how I'm trying to get myself back into the game, then I'm happy to start bringing my camera with me all the time and just including more of my training and just everything that's going on. Currently, I do have the desire, like my brain is telling me that the idea of competing is starting to kind of get exciting for me again. However, I can't even like hold a log out in front of my face currently. Miles and I are going to Never Say Tonight, so maybe I'll give that a shot. But the idea of pressing like 275, 300 pounds for reps in a minute is completely out of the question. So until that kind of starts resolving a little bit more and I can start doing some more competitive pressing, whether it be a circus dumbbell, whether it be an axle, getting in that position and being able to press like that again, we'll see. As soon as that happens, I'm going to start looking at competitions, and I'm very, very excited about that. But I am excited about my training again for the first time in a long time, even though it's not really up to par. But you guys are going to see improvement every single week, so that is exciting. So anyway, guys, I thank you so much for all of your support, for all your help, for all your attention, for just everything. All the ways, guys, just help out the channel, help out me. So I will catch you later in the week. Until I do go out something amazing, guys, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other, and I'll see you then.